Thanks, Nick. Hello, everybody. My name's Andrew. I'm a recovered addict. I'm smiling. I'm really happy to be sharing in this meeting. So he's not here tonight, but thanks to James for asking me. I've been coming to this meeting in particular for about a year now. So this is my home group. I do service here. And I feel really lucky to be part of this meeting, to be part of Birmingham CA in as a whole. I think there's something different here, really special. And if you are new, you've hit the jackpot pretty much coming here. That's my experience. And also my experience is that there's a solution here. There's a recovered members here, people that have, found a way out of, all their troubles and with drugs and alcohol, and just a better way of life. But yeah, I can guarantee it is here. So yeah, my drug use. So I smoked cannabis. Bit controversial at the start. People couldn't really understand why I was here. Because it's just weed, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's it's just a spliff. It's not really that bad. I met a lot of people who, when I told them that, would just sort of look at me like I was mad. Like, well, that's all right. Why are you here? That's easy to give up. But I'm here from cannabis. Yeah, I've never done crack. Never done heroin. Done a bit of cocaine, and I'm not saying that to try and separate any of you or think who do you think he is. That's just my truth, and I'm here to tell you that this can affect anyone from any walk of life. I've never been to prison. I've never been homeless. These are my truths, but I am a drug addict. Yeah. I've stole, I've lied, I've cheated. This drug took over my life. Like I was a slave to cannabis. Like it controlled everything. Every waking moment of my life was to get, consume, and then start again. From the moment I woke up to if I went to sleep, and if I couldn't get any weed, then I'd have a drink. And so the last 12 years, I went into rehab on the 15th of January 2018. And the 12 years previous to that had been just before that it had been I was just like any young person, we were going out with mates, taking drugs, everyone else was doing it, started to maybe think, I'm doing it a bit differently to other people, but the last sort of 12 years was when the progression just went through the roof. I was in a constant cycle, debt, just constantly doing something that I didn't want to do, and with that brought depression, anxiety, and suicidal, thinking, and just I wasn't going anywhere in life, and and even though I felt all these things, and I was always remorseful and felt guilty, and I'm so sorry, I won't do it, I still kept doing it, and it was never enough to stop. I always had a sense that if I could stop, I'd be all right, but I just couldn't. The amount of times that I remember skinning up or using, where I was watching myself do it, and my hand, I was not in control of my hands. There was no. It was like I was under a spell. So as I said, I went into treatment, and that was good for two reasons. One, it took me out of my environment. Well, three reasons. It took me out of my environment. It enabled me to have a chat with some people about some stuff. It was good to speak about some stuff. But within a week of being in there, I was given this book. This is the the Alcoholics Anonymous big book within a week of being there, and straight away I was being told to get a sponsor. I don't know about other treatment centres, but the one I went to was like really proactive on that, and it was, and they were sending us to meetings every night, and it became clear to me that the treatment centre wasn't going to keep me clean and wasn't the answer to the problem. Like I said, it was all right, and I needed to go, and I went there for 28 days. But what was made clear was that the answer to the problem lies within these meetings, this book, and going through these steps. So I didn't sort of delay. I was straight out of the treatment centre, and I was straight into meetings all the time. And when I started to read this book, it was written in like the 1930s, and like initially my mate was like reading it, he said, you should check this book out, it's really good. And I was like, I'm not sure about that, when I started reading it, and it was like, hang on a minute, yeah, that sounds like me, and I might just read a couple of bits. So it says an illness of this sort, and it was like, wow, an illness. I just thought I was a bit of a dick, really. I just thought like that I was, I'm really selfish. I'm like, I'm really manipulative. Like I must be a bad person. Like I choose drugs over spending time with my children, and like, I always make excuses to get away from people so I can use. I'm just a bad person, and this was like an illness of this sort. And we have come to believe it. An illness involves those about us in a way no other human sickness can. If a person has cancer, all are sorry for him, and no one is angry or hurt. But not so with the alcoholic illness. And these bits hit me because this is where I was when I went into treatment. Or this is where I was when I was like, I'd had enough, For with it goes annihilation of all things worthwhile in life. And I was like, whoa, annihilation, no life, done. That was,
sorry,
no problems, take a seat. That was where I was at. My life was going nowhere. My family's life was going nowhere. Like I said, I was plagued with suicidal thinking. Just to think that for me, that felt like that might be the easiest way out of this situation. But like I said, I still kept going. Insane. It seemed like, well, stop, but I won't. I'll keep going. It engulfs all whose lives touch the sufferers. It brings misunderstanding, fierce resentment, financial insecurity, disgusted friends and employers, warped lives of blameless children, sad wives and parents. Anyone can increase the list. And it was like, whoa, that was where I was at. Which kind of leads me to sort of say that I think you have to be there, wherever that is for the individual. You have to have had enough for this to work. Another thing that this book will tell you is that if there's any lurking notion, if there's any spark of hope that you can do it on your own, no chance, it's not going to work. I was at a place where I had nowhere left to turn. Everything I tried had failed. I'd seen the word God, and that seemed like a good idea. And trust me, that was not who I was. That is not who I heard someone say they were a staunch agnostic. He's in the room, and that's what I was too. But I was at a place where I would try. Just tell me what I got to do. Someone just. I was tired of carrying. It was hard work being the addict that I was. It was. I just needed a way out, and it was. I will do anything. What have I got to do? Please tell me. And started taking some direction from other people that had been around. if you start going through this book and you get a sponsor, even though I didn't with my sponsor, it suggested you start on chapter 3. And this is the chapter that kind of hits home, I suppose, is a way to say it. Most of us had been unwilling to admit we were real alcoholics. There was no way that I was going to admit that I was an addict, or not while I thought there was time left to go, like, I'll be all right, I can do it. When I'm 30, I'll stop. When I'm a dad, when I'm a parent, I'll stop. I was never going to admit, to get to that point where I was going to admit that I was fucked, basically. No person likes to think he is bodily or mentally different from his fellows. So, mentions like this mentally different, and kind of comes into like what I've learned here, that I have no mental defense against the first one. So my using was pretty consistent. I didn't have any periods of sobriety. Like I was intoxicated for 12 years pretty much. And then I come here and hear about relapsing, and mental defense against the first one. It's a bit difficult first to kind of place it for me, but like I said, I was at that place. I wanted to listen, I wanted to learn, I was open-minded, kept asking questions, I kept thinking back, I kept trying to match stuff to my experience with my sponsor, and it occurred to me that I'd relapsed many times. I had often, daily swore off, I'm not doing it anymore, and the next day I'd done it again. Like for years that happened, and that's a relapse. It's a desire to stop, absolutely not doing this anymore, and then something like around my thinking then forgets all that, and then I just do it again, and it happens all the time. There was no sort of memory of the shit I'd just caused, or the situation I was just about to get into, or the grief, the heartbreak, the guilt, all the sort of, if you spoke to my other half and you asked her how many times I said, that's it, I'm not doing it anymore, I mean, it happened all the time, but then there I was again, doing it again. It baffled me, Says, therefore, it is not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterised by countless vain attempts to prove we could drink like other people. I, as I said, spent years trying to drink like a gentleman, smoke like a gentleman. It just never going to happen. So once I got my sponsor, I went through the work, and I was in another area, and I was in Bournemouth. So I've kind of heard different meetings, different areas, and sort of heard other people talk about, what it is, why am I an addict? Like, what is it that makes me an addict? Looking for answers. Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Is it because of some trauma that happened? Is it because I didn't have anything to like that would explain anything. I'm just quite an average person. Like, parents were all right. Didn't want for anything. I sort of like felt like I had to search for something. There must be some reason, and eventually, again, I just realised that it doesn't matter. I just am, and that's okay. There's plenty of people out there in the world that have had a lot more hardships. There's people that have, mental health issues. There's, but they don't all take drugs. And I kind of felt like I was kind of being told that You can't, we can't exclude, we can't as drug addicts exclusively claim like, oh, I'm depressed, like for our own, like, because otherwise the whole world would be like drug addicts, or like, and that was kind of what I was brought up in recovery. And once I kind of like was able to sort of realise that, don't get me wrong, like I had bad days and I'd use on like, oh, that person pissed me off at work. He didn't say good morning to me. I'm going to try and kill myself while smoking weed. Like, that mad thinking, like that insane. That's true, is what I did all the time. Don't get me wrong, I did do that, but it me taking that first one and commencing another spree and it didn't solve anything, and it certainly didn't make anything better. It made things a lot worse. So it was kind of, I need to forget this kind of like looking to pin it on something, or like there must be a reason. I just got to a point where I just accepted that I'm a drug addict. I'm a hopeless drug addict. My this book, A Hopeless Condition. There's nothing I can do. I've tried, believe me, and I have to look for another solution. And that solution came, and if you knew, don't be freaked out, but I had a deep and effective spiritual experience, man. Like thunderbolt one, like a vision. It was mental. And that's not the same for everyone, don't get me wrong, but when that happened, something just changed in me. Like, I went through this work with honesty. I did everything I had to do, and I just had this this change, I was like rewired, rebuilt. Like, I'm not the same person that I was. I'm a different person today. I can't explain it, but I know there's other people it's happened to. And what I did is that I put my faith in my belief into something else, which if you want to talk about after the meeting, we can. That's cool. But basically I realised that I'm not the most important person. I'm not God. I used to think I was, but I'm not. Like, there's so much more to do, and it opened my mind up to looking at other people. Like, oh my God, I'm not just me in the world. Like it's not just about me. Like, there's other people, and there's like, oh, I've been so horrible to that person, as this person, and I was just filled with this sense of like that I could help people, and I started to think about other people, see other people, like, and I don't know, I could say, like, how do you, don't answer rhetorical, but how many of you, like, you woke up in the morning when you were in your addiction, and as soon as you open your eyes, you just filled with dread, and you're just like, oh fuck, fear, like bitter, anger, just like another day, what am I going to do? Like, that's how I woke up every day. And now when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think of is, and I swear to God, the first thing I think of is, who am I going to see today? How am I going to be of assistance today? I want to be a good person to be around today. And that's the change that I've had from doing all this. Sounds a bit weird. Some will understand, some won't. But I urge anyone that's new to keep an open mind, meet some people. There's some people who put their hands up at the end of the meeting. If you want it and you've had enough, it's here. Yeah? It really is here. If you're not sure, then go away and come back when you're ready, and we'll still be here. And I'll leave it there.